This video is sponsored by Skillshare. More on that later. Hey everyone, it's carsonmtech here, back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be telling you all the reasons why the new DJI Mavic Air 2's firmware update, which is being called by many the cruise control update, isn't as exciting as a lot are making it out to seem. Also, I'll be talking about other new things in that firmware update, plus I'll be talking about the new DJI Fly update, which is version 1.2.2, which has been out for a couple weeks now, but is available for iOS and Android, and changes a couple things within the app that is available for both the Air 2, the Mini 2, as well as the original DJI Mavic Mini. And I'll be testing out all these new things in this video. So with that being said, let's jump right into the updating. So first off, in order to get this update, you will want to go and make sure that you are running DJI Fly App version 1.2.2, which I currently am running. As you can see in this update log, here are the things that are new in this update. As long as you've got that, you should be all set. But once you have done that, you're going to want to go and open up your DJI Fly app, go back to your main home screen, and then in the top left-hand corner, you will see an option to update your drone. As you can see, the two big new things in this firmware update are the added cruise control for free flight mode for hyperlapses, which is what everybody is talking about. And then also the second thing that is new is that optimized RTH, or return to home, it will now go, and if your drone is within 5 to 50 meters from the home point, not necessarily from you, the controller, but from where the drone took off, it will not go and go up to your preset return to home height. So it will save you a little bit of time, but it brings up the question of whether or not that affects anything if there's an obstacle in the way of the home point. Will it go and crash into it? Who knows? We'll be testing that out later in this video. So with that being said, while this firmware update is being downloaded and installed, now seems like a perfect time to throw in a quick word from today's sponsor, Skillshare. If you're someone who hasn't heard of Skillshare before, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey by learning. Whether it be photography, aerial videography, web development, productivity, or an endless number of other topics, Skillshare is truly the best platform to expand your skills and gain a deeper knowledge on the things that you already love learning about. For me personally, I found the Advanced Aerial Videography class by Wild Rabbit Productions to be a very insightful class that was able to teach me about truly thinking through and planning out your shots that you want to get with your drone before it even leaves the ground. I plan to use the storyboarding skills that I learned in that class throughout my content creation in 2021 and beyond. Skillshare is always launching new premium classes that can be accessed entirely ad-free at less than $10 per month with an annual subscription. Members get unlimited access to the entire content catalog that Skillshare has, so join today and become a member, because thanks to Skillshare, the first 1,000 of you guys who sign up using the link in the video description below will gain access to a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership, so you can begin learning no later than today. Thanks to Skillshare for supporting the channel, and on that note, let's get right back into the video. All right, and there you go. The update is now installed, so I can just close out of this update screen and go into Fly. So to start with this new firmware update, I do want to begin by showing you the new optimized RTH feature, which is something that after going through settings a little bit, it does not appear that you can turn this off or turn it on, so it's just on by default. So hopefully DJI has thought about the fact that, you know, obstacles may be in the way of the home point when it is returning to home. So let's go ahead and take off. And I'm going to go and fly a bit away and show you what return to home usually is like. So I'm way out there now, past 164 feet or 50 meters in the new optimized RTH. So with it being way out there, usually when you are taking off, you want to go and set your RTH height. So you do that by just going into settings, scrolling down under the safety tab, and you can adjust the auto RTH altitude. For me, I have it set way high right now. I'm not sure why I have that, but I will set it to go to, let's say, 98 feet. So because I'm hovering at 51 feet right now, if I go and initiate return to home, whether that be on the app or by pressing and holding the return to home button on the remote, it'll go and bring itself up to that auto RTH height. And you'll see as it's coming home, you've got some more of those new in-app tips that are just right there on the screen giving you some tips as you're flying home, which is pretty cool. And as it gets closer to home, it will go and physically land itself without any of your input, which is awesome. But with this new optimized RTH, if I stay within 16 feet to 164 feet or 5 to 50 meters, then this drone should theoretically not go back up to that height that I have set as the auto RTH height. So I'm gonna bring it back down to around 50 feet. Let's go out to, let's say almost to its max. Let's go to 160 feet. So I'm gonna initiate RTH once again. And as you can see, I'm not touching the controls whatsoever, but it didn't take the time this time to go up to that max altitude. It does look like this RTH is going a little bit slower, so that might be because it's going and looking for obstacles in front of it as it returns. Not exactly sure, but let's cancel that and test that out. So let's say I bring my drone down to the height of my car. This one will be interesting. I'm gonna go and update my home point on the opposite side of my vehicle and keep the drone at that level, so then we'll see if it'll go and decide to crash into my vehicle or if it'll stop. So in order to do that, I'm gonna bring it down just generally where I want it to be. And then to update your home point, a lot of people don't know how to do this, but it's really easy. Just go into settings, under safety, just scroll down and you'll see update home point. You click OK and it will instantly update your home point. The home point is on the opposite side of my car here now. And I'm gonna go and just out of interest, I'm gonna rotate the drone to see if it goes and orients itself forward. I believe it should, but let's go and do that anyways. And also I'm gonna bring the drone down to around 4 feet. For some reason, I don't know why, it says 8.9 feet. I think that's because I took off on top of the hood of my car, but it's off for some reason right now. But with that said, let's go and return to home. It's bringing itself up. Okay, so it's brought itself up to around 11 feet and it is now zooming back home, not touching the controller. Let's see what it does as it approaches my car. Whoa, flies right over it with confidence, okay. So it didn't go and stop itself that time, which is interesting, although it has before, and it brought up a warning that it was about to encounter an obstacle and it wants you to go and return to home yourself. So that's good to know. If you are bringing your drone home with auto RTH, you don't have to worry anymore about it going and crashing into anything. So if you're bringing your drone home with RTH, I would suggest not going and adjusting the rotation of your drone, or else it could go and crash into things. It may not even let you do that. Let's try to adjust the, nope. This does not even let you rotate your drone whatsoever. Now I'm curious to know whether or not it lets you rotate in regular auto RTH. So I'm outside of that new distance. Let's see if it lets me rotate here. No. So I don't know if that was the thing that's always just been around, or if that's just something that is new with this new optimized RTH. It's probably been around for a while. If you personally know whether or not you were able to pan left and right with the controller when your drone was returning to home before this update, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, because I'd love to know. But it does appear now that if that wasn't something around before, then it is stopping you from doing that now, which is interesting. So there you have it. That is the new optimized RTH. Moving on to the second new thing within this firmware update is that cruise control option, which a lot of people have talked about now. And the reason why I find this to not be as interesting as at least it seems on the surface is because this cruise control option is only available in hyperlapse mode. Specifically, it's only available in free moving hyperlapse mode, and I'll show you how to enable that, and I'll show you how it works. But the reason why this is disappointing is because when I saw cruise control, I was hoping that that meant that there was something like cruise control in just regular video mode. So as I'm moving right now, you know, say I'm doing some moving forward, it would be awesome to be able to go and just initiate cruise control and it just starts keeping at this speed. I can see where this would be an issue if you're just flying around and rotating the drone. Then obviously if it's in cruise control, it could smash into something and that would be a huge issue for DJI. But when seeing this, I was hoping that it meant cruise control in video, because that means that they're like one step closer to having waypoints in the DJI Mavic Air 2's software, which is something that is probably one of the most requested lacking features that the DJI Fly app has for any of the drones on this app. But ranting aside, how to use this cruise control option is pretty easy. So in order to be able to enable this cruise control mode, go into settings, go to control, and then as you scroll down, you will see the button customization section. And right here is where you can go and allow yourself to even enable this cruise control. With this DJI Fly update, you've got a couple more options in here. So now you can change that tap or double tap to turn on the auxiliary LED, to toggle the map/live view, to toggle gimbal/FPV mode, to go into advanced camera settings, to lock or unlock the auto exposure, as well as that hyperlapse cruise control. So just to show you what these do, the auxiliary LED is a physical LED that is on the bottom of the drone, and as you press the button, it'll go and enable that auxiliary light, which is pretty awesome if you're trying to see the drone from in the sky and it's getting a little difficult. Toggle live view and the map view, that one's pretty self-explanatory. The FPV mode, this is the same thing, it just changes that physical setting, which will go between the gimbal mode, which looks like this when I'm flying forward, and this is what it will look like now when you're flying around. The advanced camera settings one will go and open up your camera settings right here, which allows you to change all the things such as format, color, your anti-flicker, all that fun stuff, which is pretty convenient. And then lastly, you've got the auto exposure lock/unlock, and then that hyperlapse cruise control. So if you try and turn on this hyperlapse cruise control when you're just in regular video, it does nothing. I mean, it will just not do anything at all. But when you go and throw yourself into your hyperlapse mode and you are in free flight mode, you'll see that you're able to go begin your hyperlapse, begin moving, and then you can press the button to turn on cruise control. And this will just go and continue on whatever movement you began when you started the shot. You can go and stop the cruise control by pressing the button again, and it'll just stop. And you can fly around, you can do whatever you want while you're in this. It'll limit you to the speed you can travel at, of course, because it wants to go and try and be able to put this hyperlapse together to make something interesting. But it is still possible to go and put this into cruise control, basically in whatever shot you are doing. So now I've got like a bit of a rotate and a push forward, and it's in cruise control. So this is, I got to admit, it is very convenient to have this cruise control for this free flight mode, but I would love to see this cruise control option thrown into video modes as well, which would be very convenient to have if you're flying around with just your video recording. And finally, the last new feature that applies to all of the DJI drones is the new compass indicator, which also shows the drone's position while it is in the sky. So I brought the drone down to show you this one really easily from the ground, and then I'll take it up into the air to show you how to fully use it. But one of the things you may have noticed if you've had your compass enabled, that it has moved. It's moved from the center to the left-hand side of your screen, which is interesting, and it looks different too. If you don't happen to already have the compass enabled, the way to turn it on is really easy. All you've got to do is click the little map in the bottom left-hand corner of the app, and then from within here in the bottom right of that box that pops up, you click on the little guide, and it will bring up your new compass, which, as you can see, it's got a square look with a rounded top right-hand corner. Also, a new thing added to this compass that is really awesome is the position of the drone. So as I move my drone around, you've got those two lines that kind of dance around. It also goes and shows you when the drone is tilting forward or backwards. And the easiest way to keep track of what these lines mean is to think as if you are looking at the back two legs of the drone. So as I move this around, you'll see when I move the back of the drone down, the two lines move down on your screen. And as I move the two legs up, or the drone is tilting forward, the two lines are at the top of that little compass. And then also as you're tilting left, that tilts left, and as you're tilting right, you're tilting right. So to read this compass, there are three total things. You've got the drone itself, which is right there in the center of the compass. As you rotate the drone, you'll see everything around it moves. It'll show the direction it's pointed in, which is cool. That little blue dot, as you see on there, is me with the controller, and that will show me where I am pointed in correlation to the drone as well as the surrounding environment. And then also thirdly, you've got that home point. So as I move closer to that home point, fly near it, you'll see it will come closer to the screen, and it'll even bring it to the middle of the little compass as it gets right above it. I am most definitely gonna leave this compass on pretty much all the time now, just because it's very nice to see that information while it's down there. You can, of course, go and hide it if you don't want to see it, but you can go and bring it up when you need it as well. And the biggest complaint I've got to say about this is that I absolutely wish that the compass was larger. It would be great if you could go and either make it bigger by pinching and squeezing, or you click it and it makes it a larger portion of the screen. A couple other YouTubers have pointed this out as well, so I'm not the only one who's taught this. So DJI, if you're listening, make this compass either adjustable or a little bit bigger by default. And there you have it. That is everything new in the DJI Mavic Air 2's V1.00.0511 firmware update, as well as the DJI Fly App 1.22 update. I really hope this video was helpful to you. Let me know down in the comments below whether or not you agree with my thoughts on that cruise control and whether or not you personally would use it if it was an option in video mode, as well as if you would personally use waypoints if that was an option on the DJI Mavic Mini, the Mini 2, or this Mavic Air 2 drone. And on that note, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know by clicking the thumbs up button down below, as well as clicking the circle below me to subscribe for future videos from me. And if you want to catch up on some other videos from me, you can click right up there to see my last video, or down there to see some random video. But with that being said, that is it for this one. Hope to see you in the next video. Peace.